All right, Q&A, here we go. Do you support Fall of the Mongols, Dog of the Empire by the Domain, or the two must fall in chaos? Well, my friend, I recommend a serious brush-up on the Tamrielic grammar, but I'm going to go ahead and assume you're asking about my feelings on the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion. And, my feelings are, fuck 'em both. I have my beef with the Empire, but the Aldmeri Dominion is just the Empire with golden paint. It irks me when people suggest I should be more partial to the Altmer because of my Chimer heritage. The Chimer were not Altmer, folks. Yeah, we had golden skin. But so did most of the elven races at some point. My people bailed out of Aldmeris specifically because they hated Aldmeri culture and decadence. Our family trees had been separate for quite a while by the time I was born. Plus, the Dominion's gods are just as false as the Imperials and the Tribunal temples. I am the one true god of Morrowind and of the world, bitches. Same guy. What is your favorite and best divine other than you, my lord? I can't imagine a scenario wherein I'd even slightly like any of them. Thoughts on Pelinal Whitestrake? Oh, that's a tough one. On one hand, he is an outlander and thus remarkably inferior. But he is also intrinsically linked to the heart, which gave me divinity. I may do a video on him at some point, but for now I'll just say he's a piece of shit and I find his racist views odious and contemptible. Would you consider making a 36 lessons of Dagoth Ur? I think we need to set the record straight. Well, now that's an interesting question, but damn be the house and the tribe unmourned if I ever stoop to the point of stealing scriptural ideas from a god as false as Vivek. Maybe I'll do 35 or 37 lessons so people know I'm not just copying his homework. Dagoth Ur, do you ever bless your sleepers with wet dreams? You'd know it if I did, Swit. Do you think that by the time the next Elder Scrolls drops, anyone's going to even give a shit anymore because it's taken so long? My guy, Elder Scrolls fans are even more fanatical cultists than my ascended sleepers. You'll see plenty of tough talk on the Dwemernet from people who bravely assert that they won't be buying the game, but 100% of those Enwas will be serving up their septums to Bethesda when that shit drops, myself included. And that saddens me, but whatever, at least I'm a god. How do you consider yourself a god while you allowed a need to conquer Tamriel and mantle himself into godhood without so much as a peep? He even helps your old friend Nerevar take you down in the end. How did you let this happen? Tell us you're an outlander without telling us you're an outlander. Well, first of all, Tiber Septim was either an Atmoran, a Nord, or a Breton, not a need. So I don't feel obligated to answer that question. Next one, please. Thoughts on the allegations that Vivek has a longer schlong? Well, fuck, maybe I should have just stuck with the Tiber Septim one instead of moving on so quickly. Well, at least now we know Vivek has a secret YouTube account because no true sleeper worth their weight in ash salts would ever make such a ridiculous allegation. Real mature, Vec. Real mature. Lord Dagoth, what are your thoughts on the various protagonists in the Elder Scrolls? Well, Sergio, I can't say I have much respect for any of them. Least of all the Nerevarine who turned their back on me to get that Azura Coochie but was forced into Akaviri exile when she turned them down. As for the others, frankly, I hate anyone or anything that would want to build a life for itself outside of Morrowind. Not worth my time, not worth my energy, not even worth my consideration. Appreciate the question, though. Hell yeah, another one from this fine sleeper. If you can change one thing in the history of the Elder Scrolls, what it will be? Tough to choose, but I'd probably give Tiber Septim's mom an abortion. Tell us about all the fake news the Imperial dogs are telling us about in their propaganda books, the Argonian account. I will answer your question with a counter-question. Why the fuck would I lay my 3 eyes on any book set in Black Marsh? Legitimate question I want Daddy D to answer in the next video. Do you hate the cats or the lizards more? I lean more towards the cats, but I'm unsure. I'm touched by your curiosity regarding my racial opinions, friend, but I'm sorry. I'm not about to debase myself by choosing between two forms of waste product. They're both on the same level of actually, now that I think about it, Argonians do seem less prone to drug addiction, I will say that. Do you have intimate thoughts about Nerevar? Gee, I don't know. Did Boethius shit out Malakath? Don't ask questions you can already answer on your own. Do you support gay rights, Lord Dagoth? Yes, I do, but only for Dunmer. I don't want other races to feel happiness. Lord Dagoth, do Akavir specimen interest you at all? If so, will you initiate an expedition? Big fuck no on both counts there, sleeper. I couldn't give a guar shit what happens or what even exists beyond the borders of my country. Akavir is just an excuse to have katanas in Tamriel anyway. Lord Dagoth, how do you explain the fact that the Argonians of Black Marsh were the only species to turn back the tide in the initial waves of the Oblivion Crisis? Well, because the Daedra's hearts weren't in it. It's Black Marsh, the garbage disposal of Tamriel. Why would any being in all the realms be enthusiastic about invading a latrine? Yeah, they could have conquered and occupied the toilet, but they didn't want to. So of course they'd fight like shit. Lord Dagoth, some progressive Dunmer have claimed that Argonians are not in fact property. What would you say to these new-aged Mer? Well, any Dunmer who'd make such a patently absurd statement is probably an outlander and thus no compatriot of mine. But if I were to meet such a Dunmer, I'd simply take them aside and courteously point out the obvious. Chickens are owned as property. Chickens hatch from eggs. Argonians also hatch from eggs. I rest my case. Oh, here's a good one. Daddy Dagoth, are there any filthy outlanders that you have even a little respect for, or are they all just Enwa? Well, like I said before, anything that even wishes to breathe the air beyond Morrowind's borders is pathetic and undeserving of life. But St. Veleth and the first generation of Chimer did technically start off as outlanders, and I've nothing but respect for those ancestral spirits. All right, enough. I'm gonna go watch a Khajiit cage match at Dagoth Endis's place.